In light of Women's History Month, a sector of the U.S. Department of Labor is now examining their impacts in the workforce. Newswatch reporter Catherine Skeldon has more on the interests of working women.
March is Women's History Month, and as we close out the month, there's no better time to recognize the progress women have made in the workforce and the direction it's heading for the future. But as one report suggests, there's still some work to be done. The U.S. Department of Labor's Women's Bureau, the only federal agency in charge of safeguarding the needs and interests of working women, reports that gender disparity continues to exist. According to the department's report from 2020, working West Virginia women made an average of 83% of what men were making, or 83 cents to every dollar paid to men. The report continues to suggest that the wage gap widens when factoring in race.
This was severely larger for Black women and Hispanic women. Black women in 2020 made 64% of what the average white man made, and Hispanic women made 57%.
The report goes on to suggest that the COVID-19 pandemic has only added to the workforce disparities. The study showed that for the first time in a modern recession, women saw worse employment impacts than men. Between February and April of 2020, women lost 11.9 million jobs compared to the 10.1 million that men had lost.
This has to do with a term that we unpacked quite a bit in Bearing the Cost called occupational segregation. This essentially is where when women are overrepresented or underrepresented in specific populations.
In 2020, women were being overrepresented in a variety of jobs, from retail to education, many of which closed down during the pandemic. While the gender wage gap is still a major societal issue, the U.S. Department of Labor claims to have a solution.
We do recommend, supporting women going into those male-dominated fields or the non-traditional occupation.
Catherine Skeldon, Newswatch.
You can access the full report along with more information about women's workforce rights by visiting the Women's Bureau's website.